crooked funeral homeowner named Steve imported a shipment of coffins from the UK. They looked no different from those sold on the US market, but the cost was only 1/3. With funeral industry scams becoming more common, Steve planned to use this scheme to dominate the coffin market nationwide, already dreaming of his future coffin empire. While unloading, Steve's daughter Annie noticed something strange. The shipping container reeked and was filled with personal belongings, as if someone had used it for human smuggling. Steve was relieved the stowaways hadn't damaged his coffins, until he opened the last one and discovered a woman's corpse inside. Investigators arrived shortly after. The container had traveled across the Atlantic from the UK, a 2-week journey, stocked with enough supplies for survival. The victim showed no visible injuries, suggesting she may have suffocated. In her pocket, they found an ID. The victim's name was Hannah, a corrections officer at a British prison. But why was she lying in a coffin? At that moment, Mark spotted 2 soccer jerseys inside, leading him to suspect Hannah had been kidnapped and killed by escaped convicts. Taylor quickly confirmed her identity. Hannah had been abducted during a prison break 3 weeks earlier. British authorities and Interpol still believed the fugitives were in Europe. One was Charles, who had been imprisoned 3 years earlier for murder. The other was Danny, a former MI6 agent sentenced in 2002 for espionage. All three, the victim and the fugitives, were British, with no obvious ties to NCIS. So why were they involved? The FBI's Fornell explained it was NCIS who had originally brought Danny down and sent him to prison. Intel revealed the 2 prisoners hijacked guards during a routine transfer, fled to a port, and hid in a shipping container bound for the US. After 3 weeks at sea, they arrived. Investigators believed once they reached America, their hostage was no longer useful, so they killed her. Mark dug deeper. Charles had murdered his own mother after she flushed his drugs. Danny had been caught selling US nuclear secrets to Russia, arrested at the time by NCIS. Since Danny had now resurfaced in America, the FBI and NCIS joined forces to investigate. Hannah had no family to claim her body, but Ellie discovered that Charles's father worked at the port, explaining how they gained access to the ship's container so easily. Proof this escape had been carefully planned. Meanwhile, the medical examiner began the autopsy. With no obvious trauma, the cause of death remained uncertain until he noticed a puncture mark on Hannah's abdomen.